You're listening to the Paranormal Patio Podcast with Jason and John. Pull up a chair.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Patio Podcast. As always, I'm Jason.
And I am John.
He is John. John?
Yes.
It's hot outside.
Well, it's not too bad tonight.
No, but it's getting to be that time of the year. Everything's heating up.
Oh, true.
So you had a great idea. Hey, let's chill out in the patio.
Let's cool off outside and actually be able to visualize each other.
Yes, yes. The restrictions are being lifted slowly but surely. So we're back in business.
Yes.
But since we're chilling out, let's talk about something cool.
Antarctica.
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, so I guess I'm the lead man on this
You
one.
are.
All right. So there's so much on Antarctica that there's no way you can cover it in one podcast. So I just kind of skipped around, thought about giving a little bit of some history of it, not total, and then going into some recent things and then to one very, very recent thing.
All right.
Okay? All right, so this is an article from Vice 2018. And this is going to basically explain some things about Antarctica. The polar circles. Every year, dozens of reports of UFO sightings, strange machinery hovering in the sky, the sky pulsing in green, speeding, sounding, geomagnetic disturbances. Google Earth captured alien objects that don't fit in. Everything stands out on the white canvas of ice. UFO hunters and agencies of extraterrestrial investigation look out with hawk-eyes. Detecting sites of crash landings, curious-looking underwater alien bases, and obscure cloud formations. This April, which was not actually this April, was actually April 2018.
Okay, time travel. Time travel too. That's cool.
NASA scientists captured images of holes in the Canadian Arctic, sea ice with rings and mysterious wave-like patterns. In the past, deep widening craters, 250 feet and growing, large, almost perfectly round stones have appeared in the Siberian Arctic. Strange dark floating blobs have been sighted in the Alaskan Arctic, and people have spotted a giant staircase to the underworld in Antarctica, the lost pyramid of Atlantis, and abandoned spaceships. Okay,
Wow.
so this is from Vice.
From Vice.
Okay, I always like to say where it's coming from so
Yeah.
people can wrap their head around that. Antarctica, I actually had a friend that actually got to go. College buddy, and you and I just couldn't go there.
No.
Okay, but if you have Pentagon connections, you can go, and he went. And you cannot go everywhere in Antarctica. When you go to Antarctica, they're going to take you to a specific spot. Where he went was where they were doing research and things like that, and it's here it is. Here's the research, and Antarctica is actually bigger than what I thought. It's pretty large.
Yeah, it's really large.
But it's interesting because there's places where nobody can go. They won't allow people to go. But there's military things there. Okay?
Well, there's also, like, multiple countries have representation, right? And that's
right.
probably a lot of the concern.
Right. And since you went that way, let's talk about Nazi German UFOs.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
All right. This is a little bit of interesting history. In UFOlogy, conspiracy theory, science fiction, blah, 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 comics, claims, many things have circulated linking UFOs to Nazi Germany. German UFO theories describe supposedly successful attempts to develop advanced aircraft or spacecraft prior to and during World War II, and further assert the post-war survival of these craft in secret underground bases in Antarctica, South America, and possibly the United States. According to these theories and fictional stories, blah, 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 various potential code names, which I will not pronounce because they're in German.
Oh, come on.
No, we're not.
You're letting me down.
We're not going there, no. Maybe another time.
Okay.
The Nazi bunkers of Antarctica. This is a really good, interesting. It was very long, so I didn't do the whole blog, but it's from the Ohio State University Science and Education Department.
Okay.
Okay. When thinking about Hitler and Nazi Germany, most people can think of at least one conspiracy theory they have heard about. Two pretty common ones are the Holocaust that never happened and that Hitler is alive and well in Argentina.
Let's leave the first one alone. I don't think this is the time to talk about the first one.
But they are. They're common theories.
They are.
A third theory is that beginning to see some popularity among theorists is the idea that Nazis took control of part of Antarctica and built underground bunkers where they would experiment with creating new technology. The theory originates from a story about a Nazi expedition to Antarctica. The story says that while exploring and mapping the area, they uncovered a multitude of underground caves and rivers. And that's easy to... I'm sure that's true, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen footage of that.
One of the caves was large and turned into a large city that would be home to both Nazis and other powerful groups like the Illuminati. This has come from Ohio State University, legitimate Science and Education Department.
Mm-hmm.
Just giving a moment for everyone to soak that in. Okay, this is not from the Inquirer or Jason's tabloid. This is from. So it really kind of blew my mind. Along the way, the Germans either came across alien technology or made contact with the aliens. The Germans learned how to use the technology and were able to build a number of weapons. In support of the claim is the fact that the Nazis did at one point carry out an expedition to Antarctica in 1938. Many conspiracy theorists claim that this was a large-scale expedition with militarized and scientific ships. So official documents state it was just one small ship with the goal of finding new territory where Germany could expand their whaling industry.
I have heard that. I also just learned last week that the Nazis actually set up a weather monitoring station at the North Pole.
Oh, really?
Around the same time. So it's possible maybe that was on the agenda as well. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm sure, expanding the whaling industry, they could do that, but I don't know if that, especially that time, that would be the only thing they would be doing.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's the only thing, but, the need for the whale oil was probably fair.
Sure. Yeah, sure, Jason. Let's go to Antarctica to expend our... Okay.
Well, hey.
There is also no mention of intent to establish a base in any Nazi documents, and there wouldn't be anyway, I wouldn't think. And after the start of World War II, the Nazis don't return to Antarctica until 1959. The crew manning the ship also would have been nowhere large enough to build a base the size of what is being claimed. So they're saying that mid-middle base is a small ship, and we're going to expand our whaling industry... And then in 1959, we're going back.
Okay.
Yeah. Another bit of evidence of this theory is about the Nazis agreeing to the Antarctic Treaty. So this is kind of what you was talking about. The treaty makes Antarctica a research zone and states that Antarctica cannot be targeted in any way by bombs or missiles.
Right.
Conspiracy theorists jump on this and say, why would Nazi Germany sign this agreement? That's a thought. That really is a thought.
Yeah, that is unusual, actually, to think about.
I'm a Nazi, but we're going to take over the world. And by the way, we're going to go down here to Antarctica now that the war is over. Sign this contract to make sure that you don't... I don't know.
Well, okay, so there's also... Just to lend more credence to this theory is that isn't one of the fastest routes to Antarctica by boat from the tip of South America?
Yes, I believe so.
There's all this evidence about Nazis retiring in South America.
South America.
And that's just fuel for the fire, but go on.
Right. Conspiracy theorists jump on this and say, why would Nazi and other nations visiting from Antarctica and stumbling upon their base and the research being done there? Additionally, some claim that Hitler himself is actually in Antarctica. That's cold. The evidence of this idea is based on the claim that a German ship arrived at Argentina base located in Antarctica. after the war ended. Another popular theory is that Hitler escaped to Argentina at the end of the war. I think a lot of people know about that. So therefore, he was picked up by a German ship and sent to Antarctica to live at the secret bunker. Did you know that part?
Well, I mean, I knew about him coming back to South America, allegedly. Right. About him going back to Antarctica from South America, then no. That's new to me.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So that's a little bit of, I guess you can call history, some of it questionable. I think some of it not questionable in a way.
No, there's a lot of stuff that's been proven actually since the article was from when, 2018?
Yeah, but they're talking about the 30s and 50s, basically.
Sure, but more stuff has come to light.
Yeah,
in the last 2 years.
And the last one was from Ohio State University Science and Education. I don't know. Yeah, I was really surprised to find that actually. Something like that. So here, this is from another article. This is from a blog, but it's really interesting.
All right, lay it on me.
It's a bit long, but I might skip over some parts. Satellite spots massive object hidden under the frozen waste of Antarctica. A huge and mysterious anomaly thought to be lurking beneath the frozen waste of an area called Wilkes Land. It stretches a distance of 151 miles and has a depth of about 848 meters. Researchers believe it is the remains of a truly massive asteroid, which was more than twice the size of a space rock, which has a name that is too long to pronounce, which wiped out the dinosaurs. If this explanation is true, it could mean the killer asteroid caused an extinction event. 96% of Earth's sea creatures, 70% of other organisms, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, and however, the wilder minds of the podcast universe have come up with their own theories, claiming that it could be a massive UFO base or a portal to a mysterious underworld called Hollow Earth.
Yes.
All right. Let me skip over some of this because it's really interesting article. I should have remembered where I got this, but the Wilkes Land gravity anomaly was uncovered first in 2006, so not that long ago, when NASA satellite spotted changes which indicated the presence of a huge object sitting in the middle of a 300-mile-wide impact crater. They're talking about kind of the stuff that we have already discussed, and it goes on to say they had discussion of the mysterious observation after UFO hunting crew Secure Team 10 posted a YouTube video about the anomaly. I have not watched it.
I'm familiar with Secure Team 10.
Yeah, I am too, but I don't think I've
remember
watched
seeing that video.
To this day, scientists have no idea or way to discover exactly what is buried that deep in the thick ice shelf. Okay.
Someday we'll find out.
Yeah. Secure Team 10 suggested the Nazis built secret bases in Antarctica during World War II. So we're kind of going over there. Would you enter the entrances without something that could fly and was the same shape as the hole itself? If you ever watch Secure Team 10 stuff, you know kind of how this is going. The team also suggested in the video the U.S. Navy led a mission to investigate the continent, which was called Operation High Jump, which theorists believe was an attempt to find the entrance to a secret world hidden underneath the Earth. And it goes on that the argument is that scientists believe it's a crater. So that, I threw that one in. Usually I don't like to do blogs when I look up stuff, but this is going to lead into this next one, and this is even longer. Sorry, this is really, really long, and I read the entire thing because it's really interesting. It's from Vice 2016. The title of the article is "Mysterious Cosmic Rays Shooting from the Ground in Antarctica Could Be Breaking Physics." This is getting more recent. Okay. We're not totally recent. I'm going to go to May of this year, but this is from 2016.
Okay.
Anita 4, after returning from the edge of space, there's something strange happening beneath the surface of Antarctica, and it's got nothing to do with Nazi UFOs. So,
wow.
Okay.
Let's blow that first theory right out of the water.
So we're just blowing things there. Researchers are arguing that a decade-old experiment may have furnished the first evidence of a new type of particle that has evaded detection by some of the most sophisticated particle accelerators for years. If they turn out to be correct, it could change physics as we know it. Alright, I don't want to spoil the ending here, but in 2006, researchers launched Antarctica Impulse Transient, that's ANITA, a balloon experiment meant to observe high-energy particles that shower the Earth from space, also known as cosmic rays. ANITA's flight, however, its instruments observed something that physicists couldn't explain. In addition to detecting cosmic rays from space, ANITA also detected cosmic rays shooting from the ground in Antarctica as the high-altitude balloon drifted over the ice sheet. So, surprise, right?
Right.
Coming from space, but also coming from Earth.
You know, it's very similar to what they've found at Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
With radiation and radio frequency.
Right, yeah.
Coming from both the ground and the sky.
Yes.
And
Yes.
a theory that I've read and subscribed to is that that's kind of, the Skinwalker Ranch is kind of like a bowl that sits down in this basin, and it's maybe sort of like a natural satellite dish where energy that's coming down, absorbing and coming back up, off the bedrock. I mean, it's
And I
could be
can
something similar with Antarctica.
I could see Antarctica being that way because there's no trees or bushes there.
No, nothing. Well, at
only
least not
Handful
above
of
the ice.
scientists. Right.
Who knows what's under?
Right. Some penguins, I think.
Yep.
So let me go here. Physicists have long known that high energy particles can penetrate deep into the Earth, but none of the particles predicted by the standard model, the most accurate model of physics that has ever existed, should be able to pass all the way through the planet. Okay?
I'm sitting here letting this waft over me.
This is a legitimate article, too. A group of researchers led by Pennsylvania State University physicist Derek Fox posted a new theory of these upward shooting cosmic rays that suggests they could be evidence of a particle that lies beyond the standard model of physics. If Fox and his colleagues are correct, it would be the first evidence of a particle beyond the standard model, the most accurate description of the universe humans have ever known. So you gotta say, okay, this is hard to soak in. You know, they're searching this out in space, but now all of a sudden, hey, this is coming from Earth and it's going through Earth.
Right.
The first ANITA mission launched from McMurdo Base in Antarctica in December 2006. Okay, I thought that was, I don't know, I get deeper down the rabbit hole, but I thought that was interesting. They actually launched it from Antarctica. Yeah. The experiment flew to an altitude of 120,000 feet, spent a month drifting over Antarctica, equipped with sensors, pulsars, everything. In the early 60s, a physicist theorized that when a high-energy particle interacted with a dense dielectric medium, a type of insulating material that doesn't conduct electricity, it would produce a shower of secondary charged particles where radiation can be detected by standard radio antennas. I know this is getting really scientific and heavy, but we're headed somewhere, okay? Stick with me.
I'm on the train.
This interaction, now known as the something effect, it's not actually something, but it starts with an A.
Named after that great physicist, John something.
Right. Allows physicists to detect particles that hardly interact with normal matter, like neutrinos, by observing their secondary effects. Let me skip around here a little bit. I know this is getting like science class, and plus... And there's some really... Oh, here we go. The mission, this is basically the mission goal, was to use an array of antennas to detect the radiation produced from high energy interacting with the Antarctic ice sheet. So originally they were wanting to go from space to the ice sheet, but now it's both.
Right.
They don't lose their energy as they propagate through the universe. This means that they can carry information from beyond the photon horizon across the universe, and provide a window onto the farthest reaches of the universe. Furthermore, some models of physics that are beyond the standard model predict the existence of incredibly small extra dimensions. Some of these theories predict that when cosmic rays interact with ice, this produces micro black holes that open into these dimensions, which could be detected by the effect. This is a really, really super... It actually is worth looking up and reading.
Yeah.
And of course, me, I copied the whole article.
Well, why not?
So let me skip down here to this last part, because my science mind's getting full. At first, physicists attempted to explain these strange events as the result of a type of particle decaying as it passed through Earth. This would produce an elementary charged particle, which would produce a type of signature observed by the Anita balloons. There was one problem. Anita observed the particles coming in at extreme angles, 27 degrees and 35 degrees, that aren't permitted within the standard model of physics. So everything they're talking about this, it's not beyond our physics.
Right.
This suggested that either the standard model would have to undergo revisions to account for the observation, or, as Dr. Fox said and his colleagues, Anita may have observed the first evidence of a supersymmetric particle. All of that's going to lead to the end.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're listening saying, what is this, some kind of a science podcast? Stick with me. Now, I threw in a thing here for a little mental break, which I remember this, and I found humor in it, so I wasn't going to use it, but I thought it was so funny.
Okay.
Former Secretary of State John Kerry trolled conspiracy site InfoWars in 2018 after it said that he used an energy beam from Antarctica. Now the article before was from 2016.
Okay.
So we're now to 2018, okay?
Okay.
So, yeah, Secretary of State John Kerry used an energy beam from Antarctica to split Hurricane Lane as it was bearing towards Hawaii, okay? I had to throw that in because it was just too good.
Yeah.
Why is John Kerry going down to Antarctica just a week after the election to discuss climate change, and then you have energy beams coming out of Antarctica splitting hurricanes? Now, this is from InfoWars, okay? This is from, I know.
I didn't hear anything about the energy beam splitting hurricane.
But no, I didn't either. But InfoWars must have had something on it, apparently. But it's interesting, though, it really is that this come after the, particle beams.
I'm not sure I would trust...
I know, I'm with you. But it was just a little humor break.
No, I was just going to take a dig on John Kerry, but I don't want to get political here.
John Kerry doing down there? And he was with Buzz Aldrin, by the way.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then Buzz Aldrin had a medical heart attack.
Yeah,
I'm a big Buzz Aldrin fan, yeah. And apparently, if you want to go extremely deep down the rabbit hole, they flew Buzz Aldrin around the other side of the moon to show him the work that was being done, flew back out Antarctica. But I didn't want to include that into this podcast.
Wait a minute, go back on that. The work that was being done.
No, that's a rabbit hole theory that he was down there too. That they sent. There was a group that went down there. John Kerry, Buzz Aldrin. There was some other known people that went down there at the same time. Climate change study, but a rabbit hole theory is that they flew Buzz Aldrin from a space base in Antarctica around to the other side of the moon to show him the work that was being done there.
I got you.
And that's when he had his problem. But
I remember all of that happening because he said something like really cryptic or something, didn't he? Like after the event.
Yeah, he actually tweeted something and he took the tweet off.
Yeah, I don't remember what
the tweet was something to the effect of about evil, something evil. We're going to have to do something about the evil that's about to come or something.
Yeah, it was
something like that.
It was weird.
I should have looked that up. I should have thought of that. But yeah, if you're listening, look that up.
Well, I'm listening.
Yeah, and Jason.
And I'm also going to look that up.
So, I thought that was a little funny thing to add in there. So John Kerry later mocked the allegation on Twitter later. So now, as Jason's looking that up, this is from CNN 2018. Everything's going to get connected here at the end, trust me.
All right.
Trust John,
We are all in danger. It is evil.
Yes. There you go.
It was something along those lines.
Yeah. That is interesting, though. It really is. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like, you know. Okay, for the first time, scientists have been able to trace the origins of a subatomic particle that traveled 3.7 billion light years to Earth. This is from an article in CNN in 2018. This is the same thing that I was talking about earlier, except there's a little more here, information on it to help explain it, because it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, I think. Observatories around the world were able to trace the neutrino to a galaxy with a supermassive, rapidly spinning black hole at its center, known as a blazar. Never heard of a blazar in my life.
Nope.
So the article he's talking about before the John Kerry one, so this is portraying to that scientists are saying, okay, this neutrino is coming from another galaxy. And if you're following along here, it's coming from Antarctica too. Okay?
Yep.
It's a two-way universal street. The galaxy sits to the left of Orion's shoulder in the constellation, about 4 billion light years from Earth. So there's all kinds of rabbit hole theories about Orion. We won't go there. Scientists say the discovery heralds a new era of space research. Blah, 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 blah. That they will be able to eventually track the origin of mysterious cosmic rays for the first time. So we got something going on.
Yeah.
I don't think that's arguable. With all of these are legitimate. I think there's something going on with these rays, right?
Yeah.
The new field of high energy astronomy, which will yield exciting breakthroughs in our understanding of the universe, physics, just like we said before. This is from another physicist and the same one. And for 20 years, this is a quote, for 20 years, one of our dreams as a collaboration was to identify the sources of high-energy cosmic neutrinos, and it looks like we've finally done it. So now we're going to go to the final article, which is from May of this year.
All right.
This is from the New York Post. It's okay to laugh.
I'm laughing because you said it's okay to laugh, not because it's from the New York Post.
Right. But it's you'll get the gist here. In a scenario set straight out of the Twilight Zone, a group of NASA scientists working on an experiment in Antarctica have detected evidence of a parallel universe where the rules of physics are the opposite of our own, according to a report. Have you heard of this yet?
I have. I thought it was debunked.
Well, it's supposedly debunked.
Okay.
Some have debunked it, some have not. You know, I mean, it's one of those typical internet things.
Sure.
This is true. This is not true.
Okay.
What they're
Well,
saying is
lay it
not
on
true.
me, because I read about it, and then I read that it was debunked, and then when I talked to Caleb on the podcast here recently, he brought it up, and I told him it was debunked. So maybe I was wrong.
Well, no, because I looked it up too, and yeah, there were some that have debunked it. It's one of those. You know, it's been debunked as well as that. I would right now. I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. I don't really care as much as it's been debunked that, you know, the military doesn't know anything about any UFOs or UAPs,
Okay.
which they just now admitted.
Yes.
So scientists cast doubt on NASA Group's parallel universe theory. The concept of a parallel universe has been around since the 60s. Really good movies there. But now a cosmic ray detection experiment has found particles that we've been talking about that could be from a parallel realm that also was born in the Big Bang. The experts used a giant balloon to carry NASA's transient antenna, ANITA, which we talked about, where the frigid dry air provided the perfect environment with little to no radio noise to distort its findings. Goes on to talk about ANITA here. Low energy neutrinos with a mass close to zero can completely pass through Earth, and that was in the Ohio State one, I believe. But higher energy objects are stopped by the solid matter of our planet, according to the report. So now we have, it's not going through the planet, but it's stopped by, so, okay.
But it's saying
There's a real deep discussion on that, I think.
massless are able to go through,
Right.
whereas anything with mass is not able to go through.
Right.
Which is okay. So a lot of ideas about UFOs or UAPs is that they're able to actually make themselves massless. Not that they technically defy gravity, they create like a gravity bubble almost, where they have no mass, which allows them to travel way beyond the speed of light.
Right.
So, and it phase through not only physical limitations, but also possibly dimensional limitations.
Right. And I've always thought that you would have to travel faster than the speed. There's got to be some way.
Sure.
You know, it's a long way out there.
It's a long way.
So the particles can only be detected coming down from space. But the teams that needed detected heavier particles, so-called TAU neutrinos, which came up out of the Earth. The finding implies that these particles are actually traveling backward in time, suggesting evidence of a parallel universe. That's all the official stuff that I've got. Sorry for the science lesson.
The science lesson, I think you did a good job of trying to keep it sort of dumbed down for me. But it just goes to show you how much research has been done. You know what I mean? This is legitimate research.
Yeah, this is legitimate research.
You're not going to sit over there and make up a story with such physical laws.
No.
You know what I mean? The physics in itself is,
right.
you know, mind-blowing.
Right. And it got the one article went into string theory, and I don't want to go there, which it could have blown that apart.
Yeah.
But to kind of simplify everything, thing that I thought was interesting is that this is coming up from Antarctica.
Yeah.
Okay, there's ice, so it's coming up from under Antarctica. All right. So as you said, and there's disagreements, I guess, about can they pass through Earth or not. I would think that maybe someone needs to get a story straight here. But I don't understand all the science. But I'm like, if this is coming up, as little as I understand, is if this is coming up from Antarctica, then it's not coming from a building. It's coming up from underground. If it's coming from underground, it's going through a lot of material.
Sure.
But coming from space, and it's not going through.
I don't know, man.
Either way you go with that, say okay, let's take the road that it's not going through. Okay, well that would make sense. Let's go with that. So, but it's going here, and they detected it in Antarctica. They launched it from Antarctica. You tie in everything from the conspiracy theories of underground. There's a lot of pictures you could look at.
Sure, there's video too.
Yeah, video. Antarctica is a perfect place for something like that to happen.
Yeah.
Perfect place. Of course, there's all kinds of stuff about Antarctica, rabbit hole stuff about the pyramid. You know, I don't know about that.
The face? Have you seen the face?
The face. The similar. Yeah, I know. I tried in this one I tried to stay away from that because I thought it would be interesting to throw in something real, something solidly real with something maybe not know if it's real or not, and connecting them and saying, well, you know, what's going on here. And even the John Kerry, where this is like getting way deep in the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the way I like to research stuff, because you find some odd connections and you kind of say, okay, this is pretty far out.
Yeah.
This one's real. So if you kind of come to a middle thing here, what do you think? I mean, what is your opinion, Jason?
My opinion is that there's a lot down there that we don't know about.
Right. Yes.
And good and bad is that if we continue to live the way that we're living on this planet, we're going to find out sooner than later what's actually under all that ice. You know, but there's so much secrecy.
Right.
And I don't know how much of that is because of competing research departments in different countries that are all working down there.
Yeah.
To me, I understand like if you're going there on part of some expedition, like you're allowed to go to this spot and this spot, whatever. I kind of understand that, but at the same time, it's an area that's been designated as a research area. Like, I feel like you should be able to walk from, well, I mean, you can't. I mean, you would die, but you should be able to go from one end to the other without any limitations.
Right, but you can't.
But you can't. Now, how much of that is because there's,
If boy, Antarctica is interesting. To me, it's probably one of the most, because here you have this whole continent, and you could go down there if you get all the permits to go down there, and if you're a scientist, military connections, or maybe on a famous tour, but you can't go down there and spend the night at the Super 8, I mean,
Right.
It's not, so it's the perfect spot to do some secret things.
Sure. Absolutely.
And I think that you would have to be your head in a rabbit hole if you would think that there's no secret work being done there, because
Right.
it's too good. It's too perfect.
It really is. It's the perfect storm of government secrecy on top of potentially completely isolated living creatures that are able to live in the ice, biological, even one-celled things that are thriving in these underground lakes and ponds and caves.
Yeah.
There's actually DNA evidence that's been collected from these caves that don't match any living recorded DNA samples.
Oh, really?
Like, there's stuff there. There's
Yeah.
stuff that's alive and stuff that's, maybe forgotten from existence.
Well, it's like I said earlier. I mean, taking on Antarctica in a podcast like this one, you can't do it in one. So I was just trying to pick. My thing was I was going to pick a little bit of part of the history and then throw it with something current, little funny thing in there, and to me the Ray thing is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's actually a big deal, and I think I remember that being on, television news and stuff a little bit. But then it's like it's off because there's a few other things going on, I guess. Mm-hmm. But when I combined all of this together and I really started thinking about it, I thought there's something going on there.
Yeah.
And they're being kind of like, maybe we've got something. I mean, if we're talking about something that could blow our physics apart, maybe they don't want to just announce everything that they're thinking, throw a few little things out there, but not a whole lot, because, if you got something that can go across the universe like that, you're talking communication, you're talking travel possibly, you're talking, but the one article got into strength there, got into all of this, like really deep,
My theoretical physics is incredibly limited, although it is one of those armchair interests of mine. But yeah, some of the stuff I hadn't heard before.
Yeah.
And you wonder, are they keeping it a secret because they don't want to be ridiculed for challenging the current paradigm?
Well, that
or
happens.
Are they keeping it a secret because maybe there's more to it than what we're prepared to learn?
That's from different things that I've read and watched on, say, like TED Talks or whatever. There's a thing in the science community where they're very, very rock solid on their theories. Mm-hmm. So if you prove something wrong, you got to really prove something wrong. And even if you prove something wrong, maybe some people tell you didn't prove it wrong.
Yeah.
Even though you did prove it wrong.
And then maybe you invent an engine that runs on water and you disappear from existence.
Yes. But that's, I don't know. That's one, I could go on and on about Antarctica, different things, but I wanted to throw that one out there because there were some new things in there. Mm-hmm. The newest about time traveling backwards. I don't know about that.
So, based on what you have just read to me, the debunking of the time traveling backwards dimension, mm-hmm. I feel like they came out and said, hey, we found a dimension where time flows backwards. I don't think, that's not necessarily the case. They're saying there is evidence that suggests a possibility that these particles, which are capable of creating wormholes essentially, exist and are flowing away from the planet.
Right.
So someone who read that on the toilet in 15 minutes could be like, oh, well, yeah, these photons create black holes and then they flow backwards in time. So there's a dimension there that's,
right.
you know. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, on face value, yeah, that's not exactly what they found.
No.
So that clears that up.
Right.
So, Caleb, I didn't lie, if you're listening.
He didn't lie.
But you're also not wrong, and I'm sorry I wrote it off. Anyway, yeah. One thing about Antarctica, and I read this in a book a long time ago, like probably 15 years ago, and I can't remember all the details. Maybe you have come across it as well. There was some big expedition, and I don't even remember if it was Germany or if it was America, but there was like a fleet of ships that were going to Antarctica. And I don't even remember what they were going down there for. But when it came time for them to return, there was like one ship and it had been like beat to hell. And like so many people had died. And I don't remember, I want to say it was an American fleet. Some sort of a scientific research fleet. And I don't remember. It was something along the lines of weaponry and things, like they had been attacked. Like maybe they were going down to try to find these remnant Nazi bunkers or something. Mm-hmm. I tried to find it again, and I couldn't find it. It's like I said, I might have even been in a book I read like 15 years ago. I don't remember.
I mean, the you've got deep caverns, deep caves there, whatever you want to call it. If I was going to conduct some experiments and I maybe possibly discovered something powerful or something I didn't want other people to know about, perfect place. It's just perfect. You know, you don't have, I mean, you really don't have to hide it because it's not like trying to hide something underground in the U.S. I mean, you don't have to hide it at all. You know, it's like, okay, you know.
Yeah, at most there's like 100 people that are within 300 square miles of it.
If that.
At most. And
that's when they're having a New Year's party or something. I mean, it's not, you know. So I think that you always ask me my opinion of what I think, but I'll probably ask
John,
you.
what's your opinion? What do you think?
but no, I think that probably as far as a UFO base, we'll go that route and things like that. I don't know. I do not know. I go. You know, there's been a lot of sightings in Antarctica, but there's been a lot of sightings
everywhere.
You know. A lot of signs off of California. So, I think that's possible. Is it ours or theirs? I think both's possible.
Yep.
Combinations. But boy, those beams really got my mind going. It really did. Because
John Kerry launching a plasma beam from Antarctica.
When I'm trying to wrap my head around what they're actually talking about and read about 25 times the same sentence, and then that's pretty strange.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the possibility definitely exists beyond a shadow of a doubt that you could hide anything that you wanted there. And whether that be humans hiding something or extraterrestrials or extra dimensionals, it's a perfectly good hiding spot. And it makes me wonder, perhaps this is just a thought here, a patio thought. Let's say extraterrestrials set up base there back at the dawn of human civilization. Mm-hmm. And as human society began to progress and we began to build flying machines and boats and the whole gamut of things, and we are very exploratory by nature, that perhaps Antarctica wasn't always covered in ice. Maybe there's some sort of technology that's generating all of this ice.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but of the story about Atlantis. But
yes. Oh, yes, I was going to bring this up too.
But yeah. Yes.
So, for those of you listening at home, there's a strong thought by a lot of people that potentially Atlantis was located in Antarctica.
Well, actually, there's one story that says that what we now know as Antarctica was Atlantis, but it was farther north, so there was not covered in ice. And then when everything,
Shifted.
I'm talking about way back in the day.
Yeah.
And then when everything started breaking apart and separating, and it went down, obviously it froze over. And when all this froze over, it's all there, but it's all frozen over. Mm-hmm. And then we have beams coming up from Antarctica.
Yeah. Almost like there's something going on down there. Man, there's a lot. And unfortunately, we may never really know. I joked earlier about, it's all going to melt away and we'll find out, but we may never know.
Yeah.
And it's not like even the richest person in the world could just fly down there and find out.
I do know someone that went, and it's it's basically because I looked what it takes to go to Easter Island, which is pretty interesting too. But I mean, you could go there, but it's a little difficult too. But Antarctica is extremely difficult.
So your friend that went, did he find anything odd or?
No, he was just there on a tour because he has connections.
Sure.
and look at this ice, look at this ice shelf, look at the awesome blue water. Oh no, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
It's what. Okay, but yeah, I mean, it's. But to me, even that part is just so strange that there's a place on the planet that even if you have a lot of money, you can't go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a strange thing. I mean, there's countries that I wouldn't want to go to that would be much easier to go to than Antarctica.
Right. Like, hey, let's go to the Congo.
Right.
You probably could.
You could.
Why would you want to?
You wouldn't want to, but it'd probably be easier to go there.
It's insane, yeah.
And Antarctica is not. It's just an interesting place to read about in general because it's not, there's like bushes and there are trees. There's really no body from Antarctica. I was born in Antarctica, raised there all my life, Man, I miss the good old days.
I wonder if anybody has been. Has there been anybody
Everyone there visits there. They don't live there. They live there as a researcher or military, but they're not really from there. They don't really live there, and because it's cold, but there's other places that people live where it's cold.
Sure.
But it's so way down there, and it's just so strange. And I would think that there's probably all the major countries, I'm sure, have something going on down there.
Yeah.
My theory is that's the top secret place of the earth. I really do. I think that's it. Hey, Jason says, I got a top secret idea, John. Where should we put it? Oh, I don't know. Let's go to Antarctica. That's a great idea.
Is that where the seed vault is? Is that in Antarctica or is that at the North Pole?
No, that's the north.
Okay. I couldn't remember. That's pretty interesting little spot.
Yeah.
Just a big old hole dug out and fortified.
You can't even get to the seed vault because if you put it in Antarctica, you couldn't get to it. They wouldn't let you.
Even when you needed it the most.
Nope, you cannot. So yeah, but there's not a lot that comes out of there. I mean, there's a lot of climate research down there, and other things. But for something, when you're talking, beams from space going to Antarctica and beams that they have literally discovered coming out.
Yeah.
To me, that's really, really, really strange.
Yeah.
That's really super strange. Where else do they come out at? Not Oklahoma, right? I mean, it's like, it might. I don't know. They haven't discovered it yet, but no, it's Antarctica.
I'm wondering.
And they should go all to the to the ends of the universe. My first thought was that it's a communication. Would that make a great some type of super 5G?
Sure. Well, I mean, they've discovered now how to record information onto DNA. Mm-hmm. Like that band, I think they're called OK Go or something like that. They do all the crazy Facebook videos. Like they put an album out on DNA. Mm-hmm. Like you can actually record information, binary numbers in sequence on DNA, and if you have a laboratory with the capable equipment, you can read and and receive that information. Now, like, I don't know if you're supposed to just eat it and learn it and absorb it, but
oh, that'd be nice at times,
wouldn't it? Just vampiric,
Right.
almost. But so it's possible that you know, that could be the future.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious as to how similar these particles are versus the particles at Skinwalker Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to know that, because I
That'd be
know
a good podcast to kind of get into that particular thing sometime of this. You know, if they say any more about it, and Skinwalker Ranch, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, maybe it's a totally natural phenomena. And maybe it's not something, you know, beyond this planet. Maybe it's something totally natural. Maybe, or you know, hey, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one. I'm 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Because, but why would they not? Why is it so secret? Why is access to this continent so restricted?
That's what I wonder.
I mean, yeah, you could go there and get lost and die. I get that.
Well, there's a lot of places on the planet.
And you can still go there.
Yeah.
Right. Like, legally, you could jump into a volcano if you wanted to.
Right.
But you can't go to Antarctica.
But you can't go to Antarctica, you know.
You can't even do a flyby.
Right.
They'll probably shoot you down.
Right.
I really don't know what happens if you just show up on the shores like, hey, I'm here.
I bet that's happened. Honestly, I mean, I could see people sitting around on a patio in South America.
Now, wait a minute.
Saying, you know, what are you doing next week? You know, I don't know.
Oh, we're just going to go down to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that this is one to keep an eye on, though, especially the latest thing, because sometimes things like this just disappear. I don't talk about it anymore.
Yep. Especially something that's going to challenge the status quo, man.
Yeah. Oh, the scientists will fight this over and over and over. What?
100 years from now, someone will rediscover it. And
Right.
oh, yeah, there was this guy who was laughed off the face of the planet back in 2020 for coming up with this theory.
Oh, man. I don't know.
Lots going on, man. Definitely a cool topic. For sure.
It's and I think I want to say one more thing here before I forget, just for everybody listening, or who's going to listen. Think about that. There's something on our planet that has been legitimately discovered that goes from the Earth all the way through the universe.
Yeah.
Some type of beam. I'm trying to simplify it. There literally is a beam with particles in it, and it shoots all the way through the universe very quickly. You know, and we didn't even get to the black hole.
No.
We didn't, you know, get into the micro black holes, and boy, that's I'm glad we didn't go there.
It's deep.
Yeah, we got a thing on our planet that shoots across the universe, and it creates micro black holes, but it's okay, you know.
Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. Man.
We didn't get sucked through a micro black hole and all of a sudden end up 2020. That didn't happen. I mean, yeah.
Oh, man, here we go. Here we go. Well, something definitely happened this year, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
This is a weird year.
This is a turning point year.
I hope.
Well, it's a turning point one way or the other, I think.
That's probably accurate, yeah. I hope it's for the better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a turning point year for sure.
Well, that's a topic for another day.
Right.
Hopefully the murder hornets haven't gotten anyone.
No.
But I hope that we touched your hearts.
Yes.
And made them cold.
Yes.
On this nice, pleasant evening in 2020.
It's time for us to beam up.
It's time for us to beam up. That's right. Well, this has been an interesting episode. There's a lot. I'm going to listen to this as I edit it, and I'm going to be looking up a lot of different things, I'm sure. And hopefully you listening home will give it a second listen and dig into some of these things and make some ideas up in your own head about what's going on in the south of Earth. As always, I've been Jason.
And I've been John, as usual.
Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Patio Podcast.
Until next time, keep the fire going.